Today for our Fast 9. Of course, a lot of people seem to hate this movie. It has a 5.2 on IMDb, but even with the low IMDb score, this movie is projected to make money. Yep, it is on track here to break records. Records. And it's a perfect what's the year? But yeah, the IMDb score, of course, that's not set in stone because, of course, people in America can't see this movie yet until tomorrow. We'll really see how people will view the movie because, again, the Lion King remake had like a 5.2 until the movie came out, and actually, once people actually saw the movie, and it actually started getting good reviews among, of course, the Disney fanboys. Of course, they loved that movie. But here we go. So we're going. The box office is the most important part of the movie. Here, and the movie is of course eyeing a $60 million weekend. Here, Fast and Furious said it's saying out since Fast and Furious 6, but can at least $50 to $60 million, and they were probably projected to see $70 million. And A Quiet Place Part 2 made around $54 million, including Memorial Day. But but it made $47 million, excluding Memorial Day, was it the 3-day weekend. So this movie, regardless, is going to be the highest grossing movie. It'll probably be the third movie to pass the $100 million mark this year. While, of course, moviegoers are still heading to cinema. It might be true for all demos, but under 40 isn't a hesitant. Evidence for Quiet Place Part 2 and Godzilla vs. Kong raised the $100 million. The opening weekends of Mortal Kombat and Cruella, whether its product and Tezos, and yeah, I would be available. Mortal Kombat didn't actually lose money at the box office because, of course, the numbers did not update the foreign sales. The actual worldwide sales is 123 or 24 million, which is definitely much needed amount of money it needed to make to break even at $110 million it needed to break even with. Where F9 comes with 66% critical rating, which isn't that far from the other movies in the series, such as Hobbs and Shaw and The Fate of the Furious. So it's gonna basically probably do as well, I think, as The Fate of the Furious, which opened to I think around $60 to $70 million. The movie is expected to, you know, grow. Fate of Furious is go open at 98 million. Hobbs and Shaw goes 60 million, and 2015 finale as well for the highest grossing movie in the franchise still, while Hobbs and Shaw shifted down to A minus. F9 is already closing at $800 million overseas. It's a notable joint for a pandemic. It's not up for offshore norm, but Hollywood critics cost $200 million. Universal has 6 movies that have cost $200 million, and Korea has become the third highest grossing movie since Soul. Soul basically hit 4 new territories this weekend, including Brazil, UK, Ireland, Mexico, of course, America as well, the domestic market as well. So it's going to open in those major markets as well. And of course, there's a bunch of minor markets opening in as well, but it's going to open in those 4 major markets as well. It's going to probably do well in those markets. It'll probably make like $80 to $90 million this weekend, including those markets as well, the UK as well, being a big one, and Mexico as well, being a now much more formidable box office market as well. Yeah, as well, considering the country has around 140 million people, I expect that Mexico gets more and more, becomes a bigger and bigger market. I think it's already surpassed the UK market as well. It's about to surpass like Germany and Italy and those markets as well. So, yeah, F9, and of course Black Widow is gonna, you know, come out a couple weeks later. Well, they were saying, oh, no one's excited for Black Widow. But again, if you look at Google Trends, we're gonna see both Black Widow and Fast 9. Whereas they put F9 and Black Widow is actually being out fast in the F9, but I think if you put Fast and the Furious, which I think that's what most people are gonna search up anyways. Where it's Fast and the Furious as a name, it's outperforming. Black Widow is actually outperforming Fast 9, according to this. Here, this is in America, of course. We can, of course, add in, let's just put in Loki. I put in search terms because they use the non-search terms, and Loki is doing comparable in terms of hype-wise to Black Widow. So people are saying that the movie is going to underperform because they're comparing it to Loki, which Loki didn't only become popular until a week before the TV show came out. So Loki didn't skyrocket in popularity until a week before the TV show came out, and Black Widow is considerably doing better than F9, and F9 is about to come out at the box office but tomorrow, and that movie is projected to gross $60 million. As well. Well, it could. I think that F9 might actually underperform, but we're comparing it to a TV show that's accessible to millions of people. So we can exclude Loki and here as well. We can also put in Quiet Place, which probably had a lot of sales as well. Well, yeah. Put in Quiet Place. Quiet Place. Here's a Quiet Place. This is the Quiet Place was added here. That movie, and like even a Quiet Place here. But again, the build up for that movie was much more significant because that was like the first big movie of the year. We compare Black Widow and Fast 9. If we use Google's data, Fast 9 would open to about half of Quiet Place. But A Quiet Place is it's not a foul established franchise where you compare it to, let's say, Fast and the Furious. Everybody knows what Fast and the Furious is, and of course Fast and the Furious, if we combine the data for Fast 9 and Fast and the Furious, it definitely is doing comparable to A Quiet Place. Because people can either be putting Fast and the Furious 9, or Fast and the Furious 9, Fast and F9. And I think most people could still put up in Fast 9, but if you could put up all the search terms together, I think Fast 9 and Quiet Place are doing very comparable in terms of pre-box office weekend here. As well, in Black Widow, that's not coming out until 2 weeks later as well, which is another thing. Black Widow is not coming out until 2 weeks later. I know the hype for Black Widow isn't as big as other movies, but Black Widow is actually significantly doing, in terms of search term, if you put the average over time, better than all of these movies until, of course, Quiet Place came out in the theaters. And of course, Quiet Place is doing well because, of course, it was like the first major movie since Godzilla vs. Kong came out. And we're going to put in that movie as well now, Godzilla vs. Kong here. We could compare it to box office comparisons here. And Godzilla vs. Kong actually did better in terms of search-wise than A Quiet Place, despite it opening to a box office here. Okay. And yeah, I think people could put A Quiet Place 2. Quiet Place 2. Here, if we put that one in, A Quiet Place 2, it's doing significantly worse because there's Quiet Place 2, like Fast and Furious 9, has multiple different searches for, unlike Godzilla vs. Kong, was only Godzilla vs. Kong, or Godzilla vs. King Kong was probably the other way they search it, is Godzilla vs. King Kong, but then let's get the older movie, so it'll be redirected to the newer movie as well. But another concern, and we can put a movie like a Boss Baby, which Boss Baby isn't really doing too well in terms of Google searches, we can actually remove Godzilla vs. Kong from here and A Quiet Place 2. We can put here Boss Baby, which Boss Baby isn't really doing too well in terms of searches. But Boss Baby does like Space Jam, was a point in Space Jam 2 in. Okay. As well. But Boss Baby 2. Here, and we could compare this to Black Widow, which is probably doing far better. Widow as well. Well, that didn't even capitalize Black Widow. A lot of people probably do. So Black Widow is definitely doing far better than the Boss Baby 2 and Space Jam 2. But we really have shown you that Google Trends does not really determine the box office, because Fast 9 is projected to open to 50 60 million. Yeah, 50 70 million. And that movie's gonna do better than Quiet Place Part 2. But more people are sorting Quiet Place Part 2 than Fast 9. But Fast 9, you have to include all of the different sources for Fast 9. Same thing, but again, same thing could be applied to Quiet Place too. You can put in Fast and Furious, Fast 9, F9. Those are the three like major sources for Fast and Furious 9. Same thing with Quiet Place, you can put a Quiet Place 2, and Quiet Place Part 2 as well. So, yeah, Black Widow is definitely doing better than these movies. You can put it with Shang-Chi and The Eternals is probably doing better than those movies as well. But yeah, I'm not really worried with Black Widow's box office like, other people are. If you compare it to Fast 9, which is projected to gross, I believe here, we're just going to put F9 for Fast 9. Black Widow is significantly doing better than Fast 9. And that movie is about to come out, too. And Black Widow is always significantly beating Fast 9, which that movie's going to massively go up like A Quiet Place did when that movie came out as well. So, yeah, Fast 9 definitely going up in significant interests as well. Same thing with Quiet Place 2. Again, Quiet Place 2 has a lot of sources, but right now, Black Widow is slightly doing worse than A Quiet Place Part 2 in terms of search interest as well right now. And really, if you look at the overall data, Quiet Place peaked when the movie came out. Black Widow will probably go up again next week and probably will do like a typical blockbuster does. We can even compare it to, let's just say, I'm just going to refresh this. See if it's different movies. Oh, it's the same movies. And let's compare a movie from that came out last year, Alita Battle Angel. Alita Battle Angel came out last year. Because, of course, people are just going to search up Alita. Not Alita, but not the full title for the movie. But most of the source for Alita is probably for Alita sequel if it's actually coming out. Here's Alita over time, and you have this massive spike when it came out around February. Here's Alita, and Alita had a massive spike when it came out in February in terms of search, and for one of the rare times when the movie came out on Blu-ray. You can compare this to Captain Marvel, which is the movie they always compare it to, or you can just compare it to How to Train Dragon Free, which I don't to train your dragon. Support How to Train a Dragon, but that came out at the same time as Alita, but in the States. So How to Train a Dragon Free, or How to Train a Dragon Hidden World. So How to Train a Dragon is gonna show up here, and How to Train a Dragon actually did worse in terms of search. And here's just another example: How to Train a Dragon, when it came out, did worse when in terms of search than Alita. Of course, the movie How to Train a Dragon had more hype building up to it. It's definitely much more popular than Alita going afterwards. But it wasn't really as popular as Alita when it came out in theaters. So I'm just telling you, Google Trends is not an indicator of box office success. Because Alita made $80 million at the box office, but because of the fans talking about Alita, I guess you could put Captain Marvel here. Actually, Captain Marvel did far better than Alita, so that means people actually did search for Captain Marvel. But you can also put in Sonic. Sonic is pretty unfair because it's gonna be for the games too, and also the restaurant. yeah, Sonic is like that's when the movie came out. That's when the first trailer came out. But again, Sonic also includes the restaurant, the games as well, and of course the Sonic anniversary announcements, which of course went up around May 24th to 29th. Yeah. Yeah, Sonic is not a pretty good one. So yeah, but you can really see. But yeah, Captain Marvel did better, far better search term wise, as well. So, but again, How to Train Your Dragon, which is a much bigger movie, did much better. Well, better. We can also put a movie like Rampage as well, which did better than Alita at the box office worldwide, but at the domestic box office, you know, and it actually did have that a similar amount of search, where it actually had worse search than Alita as well. I think I'm gonna put in the movie Crazy Rich Asians, which definitely did far better the than Alita at the box office. You know, at the domestic box office, I believe. Here, and yeah, Crazy Rich Asians did far better than Alita and Google, but Google is pretty accurate when it comes to box office, but when it comes to newer movies like Fast and the Furious 9, which is projected to gross 50 to 80, 70 million, but the data is not really backing it. But again, it's an unorthodox box office year because of the pandemic, and because Fast 9 is a long delayed sequel because of the pandemic, you can really start to see this show up here. But movies like Rampage did better. Ready Player One, I can put it. It's a pretty popular comparison movie to Alita. The I think that movie did better at Search Term Rise than Alita too. But that movie made more than Alita. And here, I'm gonna actually put it in here. So Ready Player One. Here, let's see if Ready Player One beat Alita. Here. No, Ready Player One actually did beat Alita massively. At the box office. So and beat Alita. So yeah, it's not really this is not really an indicator for how well a movie does at the box office. Cause you look at Alita, it's doing better than How to Train Your Dragon, Hidden World. Despite How to Train Your Dragon, Hidden World doing 2 times the box office in it, but most of the times the data shows if a movie does better at the box office, it typically has more search interest. Like if you put in Rampage, Sonic, Crazy Rich Asians, and other movies, or Captain Marvel, or you just put up Endgame, which is probably the elephant in the room when it comes to Marvel movies. You know, yeah, Endgame was like absolutely dwarfing every single movie at the box office. And Endgame didn't die down until like October. But if you put in a comparison like F9, you know, with F9 is the green one, F9 is starting to go up, but it's projected to do worse than Alita if we use it by this here. But it is showing the trends like most other movies we do here. Here, well, they typically do better than they typically to skyrocket like when the movie's out in theaters. Even a movie like Quiet, and you also have a Quiet Place Part 2, which had more sorts of Narita. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Fast 9 does have a massive spike next week when the movie is out in theaters. Same thing with Black Widow. So don't be worried about Black Widow's box office just because one site said, oh, it's not doing too well leading up to it, because most movies typically don't really have much search traffic until the movie comes out in theaters, until the movie's actually out in theaters, and the first couple of weekends fall out for the movie, which is gonna be probably the same thing with Black Widow, and of course when that movie comes out at the box office. So that's basically it. Goodbye.